What's up, YouTube? This is Picklepyro, and today we're gonna be doing a Bible tier list, Bible character tier list. Now, if you're familiar with Moist Critical, I got this idea from him. His new video, he went on this tier list here and ranked characters from the Bible. And I've been going to church basically my entire life, so I know a lot of the characters from here. So I thought it would be funny if we did a little Bible character tier list. And don't worry if you don't know these people. I'll explain everything to you because I'm an elite Christian. I know all these people. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the two most important people, God and Jesus. They're both God tier because God created the universe, so I couldn't do that. So that's pretty impressive. And Jesus died on the cross to save us, to us to be forgiven for our sins. That's pretty alpha. I know I don't want to be crucified. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be crucified. I mean, God, I might move him down a little bit because he did send his son to die. I mean, that's kind of like... No, I'm going to hell if I put them anything below God tier. So God and Jesus are both in God tier. I'm just kind of looking at random ones here. Judas, he's real bad. He's an F tier character. Imagine selling out Jesus. What a loser. Seeing all the stuff that he did and selling them for some freaking money. I mean, listen, I respect that you got to get the bag, but like, Jesus? Really? What a loser. He's real bad. Pontius Pilate, another loser who condemned Jesus to die on the cross. This man literally thought that he would not go to hell if he washed his hands with some water afterwards. Bruh, you sold out Jesus, who is the Son of God. What is wrong with you? If I was Pontius Pilate, I would condemn Barbarous, the other guy who was with Jesus. He was like, pick one of them. Oh, crucify one, I'll set the other free. And they wanted to crucify Jesus. That's so stupid. The people who were in Israel at the time are really, really dumb. Let's see. Satan. Satan's an F tier. This man took so many L's against Jesus. Like, if you don't know, Satan used to be an angel in heaven, and then he got edgy. He got like rebellious, and then he freaking rebelled, and God sent him to hell. Satan, you are really stupid. You had a home in heaven, and now he's taking all these L's against Jesus. Like when he was trying to tempt Jesus in the desert, it's like, hey, I'll give you all this if you swear by me or something like that. And Jesus was like, you're stupid. He roasted him. He roasted him really hard. Satan takes so many L's in the Bible. It's really funny, actually. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego might just be the three most giga chads in the entire Bible. If you don't know, these guys, was it King Nebuchadnezzar? I believe this was in Israel or Egypt, something like that. And he was like, hey, worship this false idol, otherwise I'm going to send you three troublemakers because everyone had to like kneel for this false idol. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they knew no false idols. So what the Ten Commandments says, we're going to worship God, we're not going to worship this false god. And Nebuchadnezzar was not having it, so he sent these guys to the fiery furnace for refusing to bow down to this idol. And while they were in the fiery furnace, there was an angel that was in there with them, and they were completely unharmed. And those three fucking badasses walked out of that fiery furnace completely unharmed, and Nebuchadnezzar was scared as shit. Three biggest alphas in the Bible. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, definitely God tier. Let's see who's next. Jonah, God tier. This man escaped out of a giant fish. Actually, I'm actually going to move Jonah down because he kind of had a bad ending. He was kind of a coward, and he didn't want to go to Nineveh. Because God sent Jonah to Nineveh to spread the word to them because they were real bad sinners. And Jonah was kind of a wimp, and he didn't do it in the end. But he did crawl out of a giant fish, so that puts him in best of the best. That's pretty awesome. Let's see, who's next? Esther. I'm going to put her in best of the best. She's kind of like a girl boss, like girl power story. I forget how it goes exactly, but there were like two guys simping over her. One guy was good, one guy was bad. And there was this whole freaking big... I kind of forget how the story went, but she's kind of like a girl boss, so she's going to go in... Actually, no, I'm just going to put her in good tier for now. I might move her up later. Moses is God tier. This man put down a staff and split the Red Sea in two. That's pretty awesome. Not to mention, he got the Ten Commandments, which is pretty awesome. Moses is an alpha. I mean, just look at that beard and that hair. I want my hair to look like that when I'm old. Moses is a Chad. Let's see. Who's next? Goliath. He's bad. He's not devil bad, but this man lost to freaking David. This little, who's the tiniest one from freaking all the kids that the one guy chose to fight Goliath. He was the tiniest one, and he got beat by a little pebble with a slingshot. What a loser. I might just put it real bad, honestly, because imagine taking such a fat L that you lose to a pebble. That is just sad. Let's see. Who's next? Noah, another Chad. I know that Noah is a Chad. You know, I might just name this Chad tier. These people are Chads. So, Noah built that whole huge boat, and this man withstood years of being called names and being called out. He's like, hey, why are you building this big boat? There's not going to be a freaking flood or anything. They were laughing at him. They were calling him names. But Noah, he knew he was going to take that. He was going to take the W in the end. And he did. And everybody died on earth except, yeah, that's why he put 2 of every animal on the boat, because everything was going to be wiped out in the flood, because God was not having all the sin that was happening in the world. So Noah and his family are all Chads. So they're going in the Chads here. Who's next? Eve. Eve is real bad. This woman is basically responsible for all the pain that we feel in the world now. She was so fine in the Garden of Eden. They had everything provided for them, and Eve listened to some snake to eat a fruit that God said not to eat. Otherwise, don't eat this fruit, otherwise I'm going to kick you out. And she ate it anyways. How stupid are you? I wish I was in the Garden of Eden. I wouldn't have eaten the fruit. Where's Adam and Eve. Where's Adam? Where's he at? He's just gonna go in meh because he got tempted in second. So, you know, he's not as bad as Eve. Like, he was doing fine until Eve, the thoughty, showed up. He would have been fine on his own, honestly. So he's just in meh for now, because he's still bad for disobeying God. That's not cool. Stephen was a Chad. This man got stoned just for believing in God. He's just gonna go in good, actually, because I feel bad for him that he got stoned. That kind of sucks, but he had like some big trial or something and he got stoned. I feel bad for him, so put him in good tier. Who's next? Samson, Giga Chad. If you don't know the story of Samson, this man, God gave him power with his hair, and see, that's kind of why my hair is long, because long hair means that you have a lot of power. So I have a lot of power. So Samson kind of inspired me in that way. Anyways, God gave him power as long as his hair was long. But some thotty came around and cut his hair while he was sleeping. I felt so bad for Samson, man. Like, some thotty. I forgot what her name is. It don't even matter. But Samson, man, he lost all his power, and he was arrested, and they chained him up to these 2 stone pillars. And one last time, God gave him the power of his hair, and he crushed the pillars and killed everyone inside. What an alpha giga Chad. Chad tier. Samson is awesome. Let's see, who's next? David. David is a Chad for sure. This man killed Goliath with a pebble, like we talked about. And he became the king after that. Well, David wasn't perfect. I know he simped for... I think the story goes that he wanted this man's wife, so he sent the man out to battle to die so he could steal her. Yeah, he's getting marked down a tier, because that's not cool. I think he had a wife already. He like divorced her or something. That's not cool. But other than that, David was pretty awesome. Who's next? Let's see. Mary. Mary was Jesus' mom. So she's definitely going in best of the best, because, I mean, she gave birth to Jesus. That's pretty impressive. I mean, he is the Son of God, so Mary's going in best of the best. Let's see. Saul. This is pre-name change. Saul is bad. He was a very bad guy. If you don't know, Saul changed his name to Paul, who would later become a very important figure in the Bible, I'm sure we'll talk about later. Saul was a very bad guy. He killed a lot of Christians. So I think I don't know. Yeah, he's real bad. He killed Actually, I'm going to keep him in bad because he did change his ways, which I respect. I mean, it's kind of weird having him like different people, but whatever. Job. Another Chad. This man endured every bad thing that could have happened. If you don't know, one day Satan came up to God and he was like, hey, let me test this man Job just to see if he's a real Christian. And God was fine with that. I don't really know why God was just fine with this, but whatever. So God brought down a ton of plagues on this guy. He killed his whole family, killed all his crops and livestock, destroyed his home. His notification. But yeah. Every bad thing happened to Job. and he still kept faith in God. All this time, his fake friends were like, dude, God did all this bad stuff to you. Why are you still praising him? Why are you still singing, man? Why are you still doing all this stuff? And he's like, things are going to get better soon. This is a test. He knew it was a test. That's Chad material right there. And he looks like Mr. House from Fallout New Vegas right now in that picture. It's kind of a weird picture, but Job was a Chad. And in the end, he got all his stuff back. So he passed the test, true Christian, and a true Chad as well. Let's see, who's next? Where Cain was a very bad man. Cain, he had a brother named Abel, who is right here, who is going to go in good tier. Cain and Abel, Abel was a very good boy, and Cain was a very bad boy. And he killed his own brother just because he was jealous of him. That's pretty stupid. So Cain is a very bad man, but Abel was a good guy, so he's going in good tier. Let's see. Daniel is another Chad. This man escaped the lion, was thrown into a pit full of lions, and was perfectly fine. That's pretty awesome. I don't know anyone else who could have done that, but Daniel, good Chad. And I think he wrote most of the Psalms, actually, so that's another Chad move. Let's see. Who's it? King Herod. Herod, he just wasn't a very nice guy. Let's see. Who's next? Joseph was Jesus' father. He's going to go by Mary, another nice guy. Jesus came from him, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, Joseph. We have Jesus, Mary, and Joseph right there. They were all cool. King Nebuchadnezzar, another loser. This man took so many L's. Like freaking... Like I mentioned earlier with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, he freaking sentenced them to... He worshipped all these false idols. That's cringe. Imagine worshiping false idols. I would never do it. That's stupid. But King Nebuchadnezzar took a lot of L's. Paul, we have post-Saul Paul, Alpha. He wrote many of the books of the Bible, actually. I think he wrote Romans. He wrote a lot of letters to different nations at the time talking to them about Jesus. Paul was a good guy. He's going to go in Chad tier, actually, because he wrote a lot of books of the Bible. John the Baptist, another Chad. This man was basically a caveman. He wore, like, nasty animal hides. He ate, like, honey and bugs. And he told everyone that Jesus was coming. So without him, we wouldn't have a lot of the stuff that happened in the Bible. So John the Baptist is a Chad. And, yeah. Let's see. Who else? Abraham. Abraham was pretty cool. If you don't know, he really wanted to have kids, but God wouldn't. Well, no, it was the opposite. He didn't want to have kids, but God said, hey, you need to have a kid. And that kid was Abraham. It was Isaac. His kid was Isaac. Isaac is a Chad. And let me tell you why. So, Isaac. Or wait. No, hold on. I need to look this up. Okay, I got it wrong. Abraham was the Chad. Okay, so if you don't know, Abraham, his son was Isaac. And God basically told him, hey, I want you to take Isaac up to a pillar and sacrifice him by stabbing him. And Abraham really didn't want to do it. But he was right about to, and then God said, stop, right as he was about to do it. That's a dedicated man. That man was dedicated to God. What an alpha. About to kill his own son just because God told him to. That's pretty savage. That's pretty savage. And Isaac is definitely not as good as Abraham, but he was still cool, I guess. Let's see who else. Ruth, another girl boss. She's gonna go by Esther. Yeah, she kind of had a girl boss story too. I kind of forgot exactly how it goes, but she was a pretty big girl boss. Next we have Jacob and Esau. Esau was a loser. this man's going in the loser tier. Because if you don't know, Jacob and Esau were brothers. And Jacob was preferred by his mother because he was more like soft. Esau was preferred by his father, Isaac, because he was more like brutal and he was like a hunter. And Esau literally was so hungry from a hunting trip that he went up to Jacob and he was like, give me some of your soup, because it was like soup or something. And Jacob was like, I'll give it to you if you give me your birthright. And this man took it. What a loser. Just go out and find something to eat or just steal it. This man lost his birthright for some soup. And they both became kings later, and Esau's kingdom died because he lost his birthright. What a loser. But Jacob prospered, so Jacob's going to go in good tier because he was a good man. Esau was a stupid loser. Giving up your birthright, bruh. That's a bruh moment if I've ever seen one. Timothy, he was just kind of there, honestly. I know, I forget who it was that wrote the books of 1st and 2nd Timothy for him, but he was just kind of there. The Antichrist, another loser, bruh. I don't know what the difference is between the Antichrist and Satan, really, but still, imagine defying Jesus. That's just me. That false prophet, you're a loser too. Get your ass in there. Let's see who else. This is tough because there's a lot of ones that I don't really. Gideon, this man was at Alpha as well. This man was at Alpha. I forget the story exactly, but I remember he blew a ton of trumpets and he only had like a few hundred men, and he took on like a nation that had like tens of thousands of men. He was a Chad. So he's going to Chad tier because he blew his trumpets and God was looking out for him, help him beat that rival. I forget the story exactly, but yeah. I'm going to put oh, Joseph. Joseph is another Chad. So if you don't know, Joseph, he was pretty much he was with a group of a ton of brothers, and he was like the favorite of his mother, and he got this robe of colors, and his brothers were jealous. So they beat him up and they sold him into slavery for this guy, and then this guy had this girl and she was like flirting with him, and then the guy got really mad, and then Joseph was exiled. Joseph lived a really bad life, but he was a good man, and he ended up working for Pharaoh and saved Pharaoh's kingdom from a famine, and that made him. Joseph was a Chad. Pharaoh, gonna put him in good tier. Kind of irrelevant, honestly. Joseph was way cooler than him. Let's see, who else? Solomon was pretty cool. He was a very wise king, I remember that. But yeah, Solomon, he was pretty cool. Sarah, she was Abraham's wife. Once again, she was just kind of there. She didn't really do anything significant. Peter was another Chad. He was kind of like the most important out of all of Jesus' disciples. He like did the most stuff. I remember when Jesus was getting crucified, a ton of people asked him like, hey, were you with Jesus? And he's like, no, I wasn't. Were you with Jesus? No, I wasn't. Were you with Jesus? No, I wasn't. And then because God predicted, like, you're going to deny me 3 times. And he's like, no, I'm not. And he did anyways. But Peter, I think he wrote Revelation, which is pretty cool because Revelation is like a really trippy book, honestly. That's pretty cool of him. And yeah, he wrote a lot of books of the Bible as well. So Peter's a pretty big Chad. Mary Magdalene, I don't even remember what she did. I just remember she's just kind of like bootleg Mary. She's like the great value version of Mary, mother of Jesus, honestly. She was just kind of there. I remember she was kind of like a complainer too. Yeah, I don't really know what the deal was with that, but yeah, I don't really like her all that much. Nehemiah, he wrote a book that no one really reads. So he's just kind of going in the Mets here. What else? John, he was another one of Jesus' disciples, I believe. Here, I'm going to look this up. Hello? John wrote the Gospel of John, which is like probably the most popular Bible book, honestly. It has like the best account of Jesus' life. So John's a pretty big Chad, actually. I mean, actually, no, he's just going to go in best, because I think he only wrote one book, but still, John is like the most, it's definitely an S tier book of the Bible. If I ranked books of the Bible, John is an S tier for sure. Elijah was a pretty big Chad. I don't remember that much about him. I just remember that he had a lot of like beef with these people that are worshiping a false god, and it was Jezebel. Is he on Jezebel? This man was a loser. Jezebel was really mad at Elijah because Jezebel and her husband were beefing with Elijah, and Elijah won, and Ahab, who was Jezebel's wife, who is way better than Jezebel, honestly. Ahab, he was pretty good, actually. He was like, man, God is really strong. But Jezebel was like, she was salty. She wasn't taking the L very good, so she really wanted to kill Elijah. So she's a loser. Ahab is pretty good though. Joshua, he was pretty cool. I think he took over after Moses died. I'm pretty sure as like the leader, so that's pretty cool of him. Is there anyone else on this list that I know? I think we're kind of coming to the end here, because I don't remember that much. Because it's hard to... Isaiah, oh right, Isaiah, he was pretty cool. He wrote the book of Isaiah, which basically like predicted the future of a lot of stuff that Jesus was going to... Well, maybe he's not a Chad tier, but still, he predicted the future in the book of Isaiah with like Jesus being born and all the stuff he was going to do. That's pretty cool. I couldn't do that. So I got a lot of respect for Isaiah for doing that. But other than that, I mean, I don't really... There's a lot of characters in the Bible, and I'm not that advanced to know all of them. Maybe I should show this list to my grandpa and see where he would rank all these people. But I think that wraps it up for my Bible tier. Let me know if I said something wrong. I'm sure my Picklepyro subscribers are Bible experts. Sorry if this list was kind of boring, but I just think this shit is so funny, ranking Bible characters in a tier list. Jesus is definitely number one. I mean, Jesus was such an alpha. Like, you guys know the story of how he went into the holy palace and people were like selling stuff, and Jesus flipped over all the tables and drove them all out. He's like whipping them. Jesus was a savage. He had no chill. Jesus, he's definitely the best on this list by far. And Satan is the worst because he's Satan. But Judas is equally as bad. And Nebuchadnezzar, he's a loser. They're all equally bad, honestly. But let me know if I got something wrong in this list. This looks about right to me. The Bible has a lot of Chad characters. But that about does it for today's tier list. See you later.
Gotta pick it up, no me. He needs some milk. I was trying to what the fuck is going on with you, man. You must be right to attend this barbecue, my bro. Yo, barbecue, first off, you can stop marching and start gaining weight. Somebody get this man some heat potatoes. I'm gonna drive to Walgreens right now and get you a get well soon card. Because you look sick as shit. Diabetic thunder cat looking at, motivated crack looking at, inspired dope looking at. Your ass built like a toilet bowl cleaner brush. Your ass built like a hot crunchy cheese curl. Your ass built like Mackie on South Park. Your ass built like gas station toothbrush on bait.